We have hit the point again. It is hit us like a train. The mid-year season is here and we are looking at the best albums of the year so far. Last week I gave you my most played music of the year so far, so please go check that out if you want all things that Ryan has been playing this year. That doesn't include just 2023 releases. And now this week we're looking at the most played, no we're not, we're looking at the best albums of the year so far. We're looking at the best music that's come out this year so far, and very soon you'll be getting the best songs too. But until then, here is the best albums. I didn't really like the general talk about how music hadn't been too good this year so far. I was kind of finding it a bit negative. I wasn't too impressed with all of the negativity, but as the years rolled on, I will say actually I haven't got that many albums that I absolutely love, which is starting to look a little bit concerning. We are now in July and I don't have anywhere near as many albums that I really love as previous years. So I've been trying to dig deep the past week or so to really find some exciting stuff. There'll be stuff that comes out later on in the year. There always is. We get to September time and music just really rockets and you get some amazing albums. So people do say this kind of thing very prematurely, but I will say I've not got too many I love, but the ones that I love I really adore and I've been going back to quite a bit and I hold them dear to my heart. So this for me is so far the 10 best albums of the year. No particular order. I think it's pointless putting them in a numbered order at this point of the year. I think you've got to wait till the end of the year to do that kind of thing really. But no particular order, just my favorites that have come out in 2023 so far. So please check them out if you haven't already. Check them out and tell me, let me know your thoughts in the comments as well, what you think of them when you check them out. And of course, as always, please make your own list and tell me what yours is so far. So I'm going to give you 10. One of the most exciting and exhilarating albums I've heard this year, and one of the most underrated and overlooked, which I'll probably end up saying for a lot of these actually, is the KinoTeki album. I think this album is just such a spellbinding approach to atmospheric drum and bass, footwork, jungle, so many cool styles coming together. There's just an excellent atmosphere to a lot of these tracks as well. There's an adventurous, almost experimental approach taken with some of these too that really extend out the lengths of the songs. I'd heard KinoTeki stuff before this one, but this album has really blown me socks off, I will say that. This is quite easily the best I've heard from KinoTeki so far, and considering how small of a following they have, it's pretty outrageous because this is some really good stuff and some of the best in this style of music I've heard honestly in quite a few years. So please be giving this one a listen. It's great to mention this one first because it highlights it almost immediately and it might get some ears on it too. It's really good. May as well keep going with some of the underrated, undiscovered gems. Wealstarcks next. Just a 20-minute Brazilian fun house album that combines so many cool Brazilian elements in there with dance and just such summery fun music all being poured into an album. You could honestly call this an EP, it's that short, but I don't think it is. I think it's technically considered an album and it is just straight up blazing summery tunes from end to end, and it's so much fun. One of the most fun albums I think you'll hear this year, and again, considering how unrecognizable this name is, it truly is a crime because this should be bigger. One of the most acclaimed album of the year is next, though. Caroline Polachek with Desire I Want to Turn Into You. Just a fantastic album, a fascinating blend of art pop and so much beauty behind everything that goes into what Caroline does. The vocals are some of the best around in pop today. She might even be the best pop vocalist around today, actually. I've already uttered this opinion before in the past, and I think once you lay your ears onto her voice, you'll absolutely see why. And just such excellent tunes from end to end on this album, man. I really love the creative approach she takes. She's quite obviously inspired by Imogen Heap, but it never holds the music back and it only really adds to the beauty of what she does. Yeah, I just think she took her sound to a new level on this album. I did end up really liking Pang in the end. It grew on me quite a bit, but the diverse array of sounds coming through on this album is just really lovely. And yeah, I love this one. It's an easy sell, this one. I think it's quite obvious as to why so many people are loving this one. I'm not telling you something you haven't already heard here. Nico Paulo, though, with one of the more pretty albums coming out in 2023. A folk Americana album here coming from Nico. Again, just an instantaneously lovable voice behind the music here. Just so beautiful, so lovely, so warming, so welcoming as well. This album just feels like a hug, honestly, and it's such a lovely springtime album. I know we're past spring, but when this album was hitting for me, it was just such a great time of year. You know, it really felt like you were just entering that point of year, and it just really made for some really lovely like train rides and things like that I went on. Really love this one. Again, a stunning voice, a stunning approach to folk music as well. Pretty underrated again, so please lay your ears on this one, because this is easily one of the best I've heard this year. Quite the grower here coming from Young Fathers. I did give this a 7 out of 10 initially, but I would say that that was a pretty lukewarm score considering what this album actually ended up doing for me. Not to say that that's a bad score, but I would put it, you know, in the 8s now. This is a great album. Really love the anthemic, euphoric feel that these tracks have. It might even be their best album to date, although I still love Cocoa Sugar, but I'm starting to wonder actually if this is better than that one, because I think they've nailed this euphoric feel, the blissful feel. Just the tracks feel like anthems. The tracks are creative again. I Saw is catchy as hell. I just love what they're doing. I think they're so great and one of the best artists in Britain right now. Super underrated in the grander scheme of music right now. They're just so good. Paranoul next, with quite easily one of the best shoegaze albums I've heard in quite some time. Said a similar thing with Kinoteki in that style of music, but Parannoul hitting in the shoegaze field here as well. Just love this album. Feels so big, it feels so grand, it just feels so powerful in the way that they are approaching this music here. I just get blown away by how stunning the vocals are, stunning the instrumentation is. The tracks just feel larger than life. This, for me, is one of the best albums I've heard this year. And again, quite an easy sell, particularly for your music nerd typical type of person out there, because if you've heard albums like this before, I think you'd be pretty appreciative of how they're approaching it. And actually, I think it's only one guy. I'm pretty sure actually it's only one guy, which is insane. An easy album of the year contender for me so far this year, Black Country New Road with Live at Bush Hall. Wow, what an album this is. And they really managed to beat the allegations of No More Isaac being an absolute detriment to their sound, because this album just blew that out of the water. And somehow, for me, even though Isaac was such a unique part of what they were doing, I think this actually might be the best thing they've done. Again, just the prettiness behind what they're doing. I love the way the vocalists come in and offer their own interpretations of the tracks. There's just a power behind the songs that really stick with you and really hit an emotional part of you when you're hearing the instrumentation, the chamber pop, the crispness of the fact that it's a live recording too is just stunning. I'm really taken aback by this one. I think what they're doing is excellent right now. And again, talking about British music, another excellent artist in British music right now. Bang. McKinley Dixon next with the rap album of the year so far for me. I'm not going to lie and say that I've had a great year when it comes to hip-hop music, because I haven't, honestly. Apart from the deluxe edition from Tyler, the Creator, which I've been playing so much, of Call Me If You Get Lost. I've really not found much in the hip-hop world right now that's really hitting me. But thankfully, McKinley Dixon dropped pretty recently, and this is definitely one of the better jazz rap albums I've heard in some time. Love his style, love his approach. His lyrics are fantastic as well. He's got something interesting to say at all points, and the tracks are produced really well, and it provides some really hooky and catchy moments too, which I did like the previous album from McKinley, but I don't think it quite had the impact that this one is having on me. I just absolutely love this. And again, a super short album too. You're wasting no time listening to this one, man. Just a couple more to mention now, and I've got to mention Jessie Ware with That feels good. Oh my god. Another album with exclamation marks in the title here. We've got one of the best disco dance pop albums of the year, and for me personally, I do think a lot of other people don't seem to be agreeing with this, but I think it's a step up from What's Your Pleasure. I really do. I think she really stepped things up. I think this album is so grandiose and expensive and luxurious with the production. It feels like classic Shaka Khan at points. It feels like classic soul and disco music from the 70s and the 80s. The influences are so clear and so obvious and so in your face, and Jessie absolutely nails it from start to end. This is an excellent album. I did see some people say that it got a bit weaker in the second half, but for me, I still really love the tracks in the second half. I really do, and I still think the first run of 5 tracks is just insane, to be honest with you. So I can definitely see why people would say there's a drop off, but for me, from start to end, this is just excellent pop music, man. It's so well produced. Jessie again has a killer voice, and another artist that should be way bigger than they are. What is going on with music? And finally, inserting himself in the all-timer discussions with this one, Jason Isbell and the 400 unit with the Weather Vanes album. Jesus Christ. Just when you think Jason would have very little else to say, because he's written so much music at this point for you know, the Drive-By Truckers and his solo music, and has already hit us with so many heavy, powerful songs over the years, and yet still, to this day, he is finding ways to do it over and over again, and it's just excellent. It's just excellent. It's just insane that these tracks are so bloody well written. And yeah, he is one of a kind. He is one of the best writers out there at the moment, and he's putting himself in that conversation of maybe even being one of the best writers, you know, period, all time. I'm not going to put him in like the top 5 or the top 10. I'm not going to go that far yet. I think that's a pretty bold claim. But if he keeps this up, because he's already given us some excellent stuff, I think he will get himself in that conversation. I really do. He's just ridiculous right now, and another great album from Jason. And that is it from me. These are my 10 picks for the year so far. I think there's some really strong albums here. While the year as a whole hasn't been amazing or anything like that, I really do think these 10 have been excellent. So if there's some new things here that you've not heard already, please check them out and please let me know. Also want to mention James Ivy as a bonus one. It's an EP, but it truly has been super heavily rotation this year. I've really been playing it so much. And yeah, that is an extra bonus one for you as well. So tell me your picks in the comments. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Please offer some recommendations for anything that I might have missed this year. Check out my Patreon as well. That would be fantastic. Have a good day and goodbye.